So probably everyone has forgotten about my Beatles song drawings, but here's my official final opinion on each of them since it's been a while. Starting with the Rubber Soul ones. Drive my car, it's nice. I like how I used a photo background. You'll notice a few photo backgrounds. There's something on my screen. Get off my screen, random black speck. Ah! Get off my screen, random black speck. I got the random black speck of something off my screen. Sorry about that. But this is pretty good. It's really cute. I don't really like how I did the rosy cheeks. Fun fact, the reason my old art style had rosy cheeks is because I do, because of a skin disorder. But I wasn't very good at, drawing it when I made these, as you can see. But I like how I did his eyes. I like the eyes in my old art style. And then there's Norwegian Wood. This one's just funny. Like, we're just gonna ignore that I drew it on the same day my cat died. Again with the terrible cheek blending. Never let me do your makeup. I like how I drew his facial expression, except his eyebrow is comically small. And then there's You Won't See Me. I like this more than I liked it when I made it. I think that he looks kind of cute. I love the way Paul looked in my old art style. I think that my old art style was made for Paul. And I don't like that. This would actually look so good in my current art style. I might redraw it. But his head's not attached to his neck. It just doesn't look like it's attached right. But I like what I did with his eyes. Wait, hold on. I have to clear my throat. I hate being sick. I like the light at the top. Not really much to say about this one. I don't think George translated well into my old art style. Oh my god, the raspy voice is back. Oh my god. Anyways, I honestly don't really like how George looked in my old art style. I don't really like how I tried to, like, overdo his cheekbones. And what the fuck is going on with this sign? And shut up. The flowers kind of look like records. The word. This one's funny. I found it funnier when I made it, but I need to know what brush I used here, because, like, that actually looks really nice. I specifically remember when I drew this, I was, like, in another classroom because my teacher was out, and the kids who were supposed to be in that classroom were just, like, screaming their heads off for some reason, like, they were so loud. And then what goes on, I honestly don't really like this. I think I made his neck a tad bit too long. But I think this was the first Ringo drawing I ever made that actually looked like Ringo. And this one... that one person, DNI. You know who you are. That one person who was obsessed with this. I feel like I could have done this idea infinitely better. Like, I see what I was going for, but I definitely could have executed the idea better. And then this just looks like that one sad SpongeBob. I feel like I could have done better. compared to my other drawings at the time. And then in my life, does this fit the song? Does it really fit the song? Also, why are his arms so skinny? I've noticed that my old art style was kind of like biased towards making everyone a twig. And also, why are his fingers so long? I needed to stop defending my old art style for real. This one, it doesn't fit the song. Like, the song does not sound like this. And I hate the way I used to draw tears. It did not... But then again, how do I even draw them? I'm just nitpicking at this point. This one can die. This one can burn in the fires of hell. I hate this drawing. I hate how George looked in my old art style. This one... I have very mixed opinions on it. I think that it's hilarious. But I also... This bit of light in the corner is a bit weird. But I like how I drew the blood. And this is kind of a meme in my private Discord server. Alright, now onto the revolver drawings. This one's funny. And the first time George actually looked good in my old art style. The paper doesn't line up. I think I drew this while I was at my cousin's wedding. And I remember that I made his jacket that color because I was eating a banana. Just a random fact. I don't really have an opinion on this one. But I like the way I drew the ghost. The original version of this contains something very unnecessary that I don't want to say. But this version of it's kind of cute. But I deeply regret making the original. This is really cool. It inspired one of my current OCs. And the apple with limbs. The Tomodachi Life Ringo flower. I was something else. The fake here, there, and everywhere. I forgot why I made a fake one. But here's the real one. It was mostly based on the music video. Why does his hand look like that? And the girl actually looks kind of similar to how I draw lines in my current art style. If you can even call them lines. I think that I made this really cute. I'm allergic to Ringo! I think this drawing's really nice. I like how I drew the bubble bath. But that duck, that rubber duck, it's comically small. I hate being sick. This drawing I actually think it's really cool. I like how I did the eyes. And I like his little, I think it's a dress. And you can still kind of see where his nose would go. Except he kind of looks like a girl. Good Day Sunshine. Not really much to say about this one. It's kind of boring. I really like this one. It perfectly sums up how I feel sometimes. And I remember I was a bit hated in some Discord servers, so I took extra care to cover his booty. I don't know, just random funny trivia. And then I really needed to stop listening to every request I was given. That's all I'm gonna say about this one. So, like, this one was kind of drawn on the same day my school got threatened. And also I read an interesting fan fiction from a fandom that I was in like 2022. Once again, George didn't really translate well into my old art style, I fear. But this is still kind of cute. Even though he looks like he was squashed or like expanded vertically. I'm surprised that only one person noticed the freaking weed eyes. Not really much to say about this one. It doesn't really look like Paul. This was put in the folder by accident. Honestly, I think this one's really cool. There was someone who hated it, but let's not talk about that person. Alright. Oh hey, now on to the November White Album drawings. Back in the USSR. This is cute. I like this, it's cute. But I think I made his body too small. This one's just funny. Also, I like how I used a photo background. Last Onion. This one inspired a current OC of mine. Again. I like how I put stuff from the song inside the onion. But I don't like how I drew his hand. Wait, yeah, I didn't put his thumb going the right way, thank God. But I like what I did with the background. This one's also kind of funny because, like, John does not want to be in this play. Also, by John Lemon. What? Oh my god, was that really necessary, November Me? You know exactly what I'm talking about and what I'm looking at. Was that really necessary? Bro cannot be that excited to be forcing his friends to be in a play. This is a fun. Wait, where? I swear there was one between these. We're just gonna ignore whatever the hell was between these. I like George and the Family Guy death pose. But there's a mistake on this and it's driving me nuts. But Ringo Tree's still hilarious. This one, I was so proud of it when I made it, but honestly, now I'm not. 'Cause, like, his fingers are abnormally long on one hand. So is his arm. And his nose is way too far from his mouth. So no, I'm not as proud of this as I was when I made it. This is a warm gun. I think the fact that I forgot to render the eyes actually, like, adds to this. And I remember that I didn't know which of the three possible meanings for this song would get me in the least trouble. So I just drew John doing target practice and tinted it. He's ready for deer season. This is cute. I'm not that good at drawing animals, so I'm really proud of how I drew Martha. And I like how happy Paul looks. And then I'm so tired. I like how I did the background. My drawings were actually so good when I actually put effort into them. And I like how I drew the cigarette smoke. It doesn't really look that realistic, but it looks nice. And I like how I did John's facial expression. And then Blackbird. I think this is a really nice drawing. I feel like I shouldn't have copy pasted the birds. This drawing. It's hilarious to me. I remember I have a friend who kept like sending me a cropped version of it. If you're the friend and you're watching this, hi. And then there's this. This one Discord server. Someone said save a horse, ride a cowboy to this. But I think it's a nice drawing. I like this one. I think the flower he's holding is a bit too small and his hand is a bit too big. But I like how you can see I like how you can see the white streak in his hair. I think this is a very good Ringo drawing. But this was a perfect opportunity to use a photo background. This one. Don't feel like getting banned today. Shut up. Draw it. You're a coward. I hope he gets run over. But at least this got me a friend. Jokes aside, I actually find this really funny. And I find it so hilarious how mad people got at it. And then I drew this today. The contrast. By the way, my therapist hated this image. The contrast. I think this is really cute. But I feel like Paul would hate this. I don't know why. But I feel like he'd find this hilarious. What the fuck is he wearing? What the fuck is he wearing? He would not wear that. He would not wear a see-through top. He would not wear that. This is cute. I think that he looks a bit like a cat. I don't know how to explain it. I remember I said that I wanted to get this on December 22nd. Even though I drew this on November 18th. Girl, your birthday's not for a whole month. I was so proud of this one and it got almost ignored and I was crushed. Cause like, look at it. If I remove the title, it could actually work as a standalone thing. Like, I'm so insanely proud of this and I think it should have been acknowledged more. Another thing that inspired a not very similar looking to this OC. I like how I drew the water. I like how I did the background in general. I just really like this. And then there's this monstrosity. we're just skipping this. I remember there was a Discord server that banned me the day before I made this for safety concerns, and then this ended up being one of my most tame drawings. And then there's this. It just kind of looks like edgy 2009 DeviantArt crap, if I'm being honest. Another thing, this is the second multi-armed naked George. Except he has an extra eye. I like how I drew the clouds. I think that this would have been better if the colors were less saturated. Also, I just noticed an abundance of red backgrounds. Like, why so many red backgrounds? Not really much to say about this one. I really like this one. I remember that I actually had a crush on this when I first drew it. And honestly, hear me out. That's all I'm gonna say. Hear me out on my own drawing. Wait, hold on, my leg is really itchy right now. Alright, itched my leg. I did this song horrendously wrong. Like, I want to redraw this. Like, because this is so ugly. It doesn't even look like George. But the Eric's teeth jar is funny, even though it's comically small. I remember I drew this during Thanksgiving dinner. A bit selfish of me, but I like these little swirly whirly thingies. Like the swirly curlies in the corners. But why is Paul so small? This one's so interesting to me. I remember, like, I just drew one John, copied him, recolored him, and then just, like, distorted him. And the upside down one was actually an accident, but I left it because, like, why not? I actually really like this one. I like how I did his eyes. I think this could actually, like, go on a shirt and be really nice. Alright, now on to the December stuff. First is Sgt. Pepper's. I think this is really cute, actually. And I like how there's just, like, half a George. I just straight up copy-pasted the hands. Wow. But I think I made Ringo really cute. And as weird as this may sound, I like how I drew his legs. I don't know how to explain it, but, like, those are some nice legs. I think that I got really creative with this. Like, I had a vision. And I like how I got it to look like a child's crayon drawing. Little Julian. Home repair. But on LSD. I don't really have an opinion on this one. I think he kind of looks like a sea otter. I like the colors I chose for this. I think that it perfectly represents the song. Not really much to say. I think that I made this one really cute, and I'm proud of, like, the rainbow glowing stuff inside the hat. So, like, when I showed this to my therapist, she said that the flower in his mouth looked like an anus, so now I kind of hate this drawing. Uh, I like the concept of this. I think that I did kind of a good job executing it. And something no one picked up on. The clock is at 6:04. I'm very smart. This one's just funny. There is no way this was actually what I drew for this song. My freaky aunt said that she wanted this to happen to her, and I guarantee that she didn't mean in a hi, hello, get up, hi, hello, good morning way. But I think that I made him look like insanely happy. And I love that. And I'm proud of the perspective on the arms. And he just wants you to get up and play with him, you know? He just wants you to get up, maybe run around outside with him. I think that I did a good job portraying that. This is just lazy. I threw glitter over the other one. Shut up. I like how I did the half and half and how you can kind of see the title on John's side. I think this perfectly. First ever hidden Sean. Alright, now on to Magical Mystery Tour. Ringo looks like he's seen some things. But I think this is pretty cute. I think that this is also pretty cute. It reminds me of the music video, which is what it was based on. Hold on. Sorry, I had to yawn. I like how I did this one. I like how it's, like, not detailed, but it's also detailed. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But the fading to black in the corner on John kind of looks like chest hair, which I'm like 99% sure that he didn't grow it. And George's mustache is comically small. I remember I drew this on my birthday, and it looks pretty nice. I like the colors. It reminds me of the music video. Not really much to say. He looks like Joy from Inside Out. I actually like this. I think that Sean. I think that I made this very beautiful. And I like how, as oddly specific and kind of weird as this sounds, I like how I, like, just completely removed their genitals, because, like, they're angels, they don't need those. But John still has glasses because angels can have bad eyesight. And Yoko is pregnant through her hair. I remember I was up at 1 a.m. drawing this. I think this is really cute. I think that... Oh, and by the way, these are not part of Magical Mystery Tour, they're just Christmas drawings. I think that this is really cute. I like how Linda's under the mistletoe. And Paul's like, whoa, I get to kiss my wife! I bet he was doing more than just kissing her later that night. I probably shouldn't joke about that. I like the background on this. It kind of reminds me of a stingray in the weirdest way. But it also kind of looks soft. Like, I don't know, the background of this just kind of looks soft. Like, softer than the fur coat. Another background that looks like it crawled out of a bin of highlighters. Oh my god. That is a comically small Sean hidden in the purple. I like how I split up the title. I remember I was so proud of this when I drew it. I like the photo background. But that's strawberry. That strawberry! It's so small! That is a small strawberry, John! But you know what else is small? Once again, probably shouldn't joke about that right now. Never let me draw a horse. Cause what is that? That is not a horse! Also, Paul looks like a girl. Lennon dollar. I remember someone said that the monochrome fit my old art style, and honestly, yeah. Oh, my last drawing of 2024. I drew this while I had explosive diarrhea. And also, I think I see Sean. And then onto the January drawings on Abbey Road. I see what I was going for with this, but I think that my art style kind of ruined it. I don't know how to explain it. Also, the background looks really soft. Sean Tree! Also, we all know what George was actually dreaming about doing with Patty. The Beatles were freaks! Oh my god, it's Bushy's boyfriend! I think that this captures the vibe of the song perfectly. Wait, hold on. Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time wait. And every time we kiss, I swear I can fly. I want to make so many AMVs of them, even though it's just 2 pictures. I already made that Two Fine Lovers thing, so go watch it after you finish watching this, please. I promise it's hilarious, please. Wait, I'm pretty sure we skipped one. Did we skip one? I was horrible at remembering to put things in here, so probably. This one inspired an OC. I also love how Sean's eating the seaweed. I cannot have a mosquito bite. What? I just found a mosquito bite on myself. Why you looking? Maybe because his pants are undone? But I think that this is what the Beatles were made for. This is what this song was made for. Ah yes, the song that was playing when the back window of my car exploded. Featuring the ghost of a saber-toothed tiger. I think this looks very happy. Not really much to say. Why are the stars so linear? Also, Sean Jar. Why does this have the anti-theft cover on it? Alright, I have it without the anti-theft cover. I don't really know how I feel about this one. I think that Ringo looks small. Which he was, but not nearly as small as he looks here. Like, he looks like he's 3 feet tall. He is not 3 fucking feet tall. That does not look like a mustard stain. And also there's holes in the background. This one's better than the other one. But, like, still really boring. Where's the background? What do I even say about this? She looks so round. Also, Sean Towel. Why does he have the Roblox man face? Also, Paul looks genuinely so surprised. Meme. This is cute. I think that Paul's face looks a bit weird. But oh my god. This was based on a personal experience that I maybe shouldn't have projected onto someone who has 5 children. Well, only 4 with the woman he's thinking about. I think that this looks really nice. I like how I just casually drew Paul in a dress. Like, yes, Paul's wearing a dress. I actually want to see Paul McCartney in a dress. I think he would look really nice in one. Paul, if you somehow find this video, wear a dress, please. I see Sean. I like how he's literally just a rich guy. Alright, now on to the Let It Be drawings with Sean! And McLennan fan art! I kept getting accused of shipping McLennan! No, my phone! More Sean! John looks rather unimpressed with what he's created. This one's really nice. It's still my Tumblr icon. I love this one. It actually inspired an OC of mine, so did this. These both inspired OCs that are best friends with each other. Another one that we're just gonna ignore that I drew it on the same day my cat died. I think that this looks like how John drew himself. I really like this one. I think I drew it really... Shut up. Shut up, Greenland's Prime Minister! I think that I drew Paul's mother really nicely, and... Of course Sean's here! Shut up, Dad. For some reason, this is funny to me. Like, it's giving, download sexy cowboy game now! I like this one. I think it looks very hopeful. But at the same time, it looks like I ship McLennan! Which... I might. But I'm not making fan art and fan fiction about them! Also, wait a second, I put Sean in the sun! More McLennan art. This is actually really cute, except I don't really like how I drew John's hands. Also, why does Paul's arm look like that? But otherwise, this is really cute. The long and winding road to pubes. I feel like I shouldn't have included that inside joke. That of all inside jokes in this. But I like how he's crying out his soul. Also, he kind of looks like Sean Lennon. This... I have very mixed feelings on this. I think it's cute, but also not. Like, George did not translate well into my old art style. Also, Sean disapproves. I like how I did the background and... Sean. I like how I did the hand. Like, talk to the hand. I just like this. And this was the point I should have stopped. So, like, anything after this point, except a select few, just shouldn't exist. This one should exist. This one should exist. This was based on the Run for Your Life. This one, I guess, gets to exist. This one's just funny. This one gets to exist. This one was people's matching profile pictures, so it gets to exist. This one was someone's profile picture, so it gets to exist. I remember I used to ship the Mother Nature's son with the Octopus's Garden for some reason. Now I don't. How do you get a phone underwater? This gets to exist because it's funny. This never got completed. This one looks cool with the anti-theft cover, but not without. This one gets to exist because I like the color scheme. This one gets to exist because it's funny and I love that game. This one gets to exist because it's Joshua K. Bush, aka Bushy. Have a nice day!